Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. I hope you guys are all doing very well. In today's video, we're talking about niche things that make you instantly stylish part 2. Because apparently you guys really enjoyed the last one.
Oh my god! Wow!
So I guess we have more work to do. This video isn't about chasing trends or trying to look like you've been dressed by the algorithm. This video is about nuance, texture, and taste. Those very small, intricate details that tell the world, yes, I actually do think about things. So let's get straight into it. Number 1 is the hair tuck.
Florals for spring. Groundbreaking.
Let's just be very honest. It's a very simple styling technique. It's kind of like the, dare I say it, quiet luxury of hairstyling. Ooh, can't believe I said it, but okay, we're gonna carry on with that word. We're gonna use that context here. Something about the hair tucked into a jacket, into a choker, into a scarf, just gives, oh, I just threw this on. Very chic, very stylish. One of the examples that I love to reference for this particular styling tip is Phoebe Philo. I'm gonna read a section from an online magazine called Couverture, and they talk about Phoebe's style. I really love when editors focus in or commentators focus in on the style of a fashion designer, because the duality is so interesting. This is a person that is making clothes at a very high prestigious level for a huge luxury house, and if they're making clothes or dictating the culture in some sense and giving some sort of relevance to what we wear by putting their collections down the runway, it's also very interesting to analyze what they wear themselves and what that really means. What I've found is that a lot of my favorite designers tend to actually dress in a very simplistic sort of way. I think Jonathan Anderson comes to mind, the Olsen sisters come to mind, and Phoebe Philo comes to mind. Though simple at first glance, Philo's style emphasized superior details disguised in classic silhouettes. Her essentials are as follows: a next level cuff, a well-cut trouser, timeless knitwear, and a great sneaker. She told Vogue, I absolutely love menswear, and she often gravitated towards the slightly perverse combination of navy and black. The result is that her ensembles look as stylistically at home in 2021 as they did a decade prior, despite monumental shifts in trends. So we see Phoebe utilize this styling technique of the hair tuck in a lot of her looks, and I feel like it's fuses seamlessly into her own personal style, a style that is very timeless and a style that remains very much relevant over trend cycles. So really utilizing these very subtle tools like tucking your hair into your jacket, into a choker, into a scarf, kind of just gives the energy of, you had somewhere to be and your hair just was not part of the story today. And when you couple this with an outfit that maybe is a little bit more curated or thought through, or one that's just simply blasé, the whole look ends up giving fashion. And the best part about this is not everyone can actually do it. You actually need the hair length. So it makes it exclusive by anatomy, if you like, which is kind of chic. Number 2 is curiosity beyond your hometown. It seems as though, especially in 2025, that a lot of people develop style opinions before they actually develop their own taste. But I'd argue that style is context. It's relevance. When you really look outside of your bubble and you look at cities like Tokyo, Seoul, Lagos, Copenhagen, Paris, you start to look at how people's lifestyle shapes their aesthetic and not the inverse. You stop copying a random look from a street style photo or from a Pinterest account simply because it looks quirky and subversive. Instead, you start to explore why that style works in that particular place. The climate, the culture, the cadence of life, and you realize that style is more so an interpretation of what it is that you see rather than just simply a cosplay to, just look better. One of my personal, fashion or style breakthroughs was when I was living in Paris. Not only was I living in Paris, but I was also working in Paris for a French fashion company, a French brand. And one thing that I found so interesting about this experience was I was working amongst French people, and I was commuting home after work, and I was seeing how people who work and live in Paris kind of sort of like shape their lifestyle. And when you are, I guess, from a different place and you almost immerse yourself into a culture that in such a significant way, it allows you to really look at the things, or look at the parts of yourself that you didn't really ever consider looking at, I guess. But what was more interesting for me was just, how people dress to work and how their clothes fuse in with their with the rest of their lives. It seems like in other cultures, fashion is not necessarily a separate idea and a separate sort of concept that people think about, even though it can be compartmentalized and thought about on its own. It's also something that is part of a lifestyle. We also see that in cities like New York, when people say that New York is a walking city. I actually do live in New York now, so I've been able to investigate this. But New York is a walking city. So part of your style, or part of what makes up your outfit, is going to be a comfortable shoe. If you're someone who maybe is working a job that requires them to move around or to navigate the city quite a lot, you're going to go for comfort, and you're going to gravitate towards those styles that are not just functional and comfortable, but also stylish at the same time. Number 3 is watching runway shows. Now, people love to say that fashion is frivolous, and a large part of that statement is true. I'm not going to lie. A large part of that is true. When the world is burning and when society has so many issues, why think about clothes? Why think so hard about what you're wearing? Does it really matter that much? Well, of course it does. Fashion is a statement. Fashion says so much about humans. Fashion is a living history book of society in a way. How we've dressed over time has shifted depending on how things are working politically in society. So for me, when I hear someone say fashion is frivolous and it doesn't really matter, it translates to, I don't get it, so it must be pointless. Runway shows are really design philosophy in motion. It's almost like a cultural decoding in a sense. It's a designer's thesis on where we are and where we're going culturally. And no, I don't just mean whatever Louis Vuitton bag is being forced onto Instagram this season. I mean the designers who are building worlds, who are thinking about humanity, people, futurism. This is where you discover ideas, things such as mood, proportion, silhouette, energy in your clothes, and then you bring that emotion back into your wardrobe. So style ultimately becomes meaning rather than just merchandise, if you go about it the right way. Number 4 is simply a crop and a cinch. A crop and a cinch are one of my favorite styling tools when it comes to enhancing a look. Because if we're talking about style, proportion is one of the first things that most people kind of like look over and ignore. Not you guys, because I think everyone watching this video is I think you're already very stylish. So we're not talking about you, we're talking about everyone else. But it's the thing that so many people ignore when it comes to fashion, and then they wonder why their outfit just doesn't work. Well, it's because you have to dress for your body, and a subtle crop or a cinch is perfect when it comes to highlighting the features of your unique body. A subtle crop in a jacket or a top, or a thoughtful cinch at the waist, automatically gives you architecture. We see the body, we see the form, we see the shape. When you start to dress for your body, that is how you develop style. When you start to notice the things, the unique features about your body, when you appreciate those things about your body and you play into them, similar to what we talked about in the last video, this is what makes your outfit that little bit more unique and that little bit more stylish. So think where do I want the eye to land? Where does my body naturally want balance? A crop jacket that exposes the details of the waist of your trousers, a belt on a coat, a trench coat in particular, a drawstring that's pulled at the waist just right. It's giving control. It's giving intention. It's giving my clothes are working for me and not the other way around. Number 5 is thin silver frame glasses. Very, very specific, but you're gonna see why. Glasses are one of the few accessories that literally sit on your face. So it's one of the first things people will look at. Plastic frames are everywhere. You know, think acetate, big silhouettes, but silver frames, different arena altogether. The reason why I love thin silver frames so much is because silver frames give off this very understated, quiet, forensic, chic energy. Like you read, like you observe, and you like to see things clearly. Literally and socially. They're not just hot right now, they were good 20 years ago and they're gonna be good for another 20. And the beauty of them is how adaptable they are. On lighter skin, they almost disappear or blend. On darker skin, the contrast becomes more sculptural. It's kind of like a crisp lining that outlines the face. Most glasses make themselves known. They announce, I am eyewear, look at me, I am part of the outfit. But a thin silver frame, especially the minimalist ones, they imply vision rather than decorate the face. They're a suggestion, a contour. They give the concept of clarity almost without the accessory that symbolizes it. And they function kind of like a negative space in design. So they shape the look without being the focal point. So it's the difference between wearing glasses as an accessory versus glasses as a structural idea that happens to sit on your face. They work especially well if you actually need them to see. Suddenly necessity becomes intention, and you know that functionality that you need in your glasses becomes aesthetic. Very, very subtle nuances here, but trust me on this. Trust me, if you are someone that wears glasses and you have, you know, typical sort of like usual acetate or plastic frame, swap it out for a silver frame and I guarantee you your look will be instantly elevated. I guarantee. If it doesn't work, if this doesn't happen, you have a 30-day return policy on this video where you can get your time back. Just send me an email and I'll have my people process that. When it comes to style, when it comes to being more stylish, we do not consume. So if there's anything that I would love for you to take away from this video, it's that good style is not about mindless consumption. It's about having the right awareness. Awareness of proportion, culture, texture, nuance, and self as well. With that being said, thank you guys so much for watching and for tuning in to today's video. I hope you were able to take some tips away, even though a lot of these things on this list are actually quite straightforward and quite simple. But as we know, if we apply things in a certain way and with a little bit more intention, it can give you something, you know, a little bit more new. And I hope I was able to share some new concepts with you as well. If you did enjoy today's video, remember to leave a like because it tells the YouTube algorithm that people enjoy the video and it'll recommend it to more people and it'll help grow the channel, which will then encourage me to continue making more videos for you. I'd also love to hear about which one of these points spoke to you the most. And finally, if you want to watch more videos just like this, feel free to subscribe. And other than that, I will see you guys very, very, very soon. All the best.